Welcome to day 2. Today we are focusing on a low back routine. These movements are pulled directly from our 6-week injury prevention and rehab series. So the focus is going to be on releasing tension in the low back and the hamstrings, while at the same time we're going to be building strength in the core, hamstrings, and glutes. So you're going to need a mat and a pole or a broomstick to hold on to for balance. Go ahead and grab those and then we'll get started. We're starting off with leg swings. So holding your pole or broomstick for balance, you're coming onto one leg. Try to let that leg feel fairly loose as you bring it back and forward. Right from the start, you want to hold your belly button in towards the spine and then tuck your pelvis under to offer your low back support and keep it neutral, especially as that leg goes back. So we're just going to go forward and back for 20 seconds. Keeping that chest nice and tall. Again, we're really focusing on just letting that hip open up as we go and overall working on the lower body stability muscles. Again, it doesn't have to be a big range of motion as you swing. Just try to kind of open up in that hip and let it feel loose. All right, so time's up going that way. Keep to that side. Now we're just going to go in front of the body, side to side. Doesn't have to be a big range of motion again for 20 seconds. So you might be feeling the glute and the hip of that supporting leg because those are your stabilizers working to hold your body upright on the one side. All right, time's up. Go ahead and switch. Getting into position, belly button in, hips tucked under, and just forward and back for the first 20 seconds. Again, watch that low back doesn't start arching when the leg's going back, keeping it supported by engaging your core. All right, and then last 20 seconds, going in front of the body, side to side. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into hip circles. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, having your hands at your sides or your hips, whatever is comfortable. First 30 seconds, we're going to go one direction. So you're going to start by pushing your hip out to the side and then pressing your hips forward, tucking your hips under and actually squeezing your glutes. Come off to the other side and then a slight hip hinge. So you're not letting your low back arch, still keeping that slight tuck of the pelvis as you drive your hips back and then repeating the movement one direction for 30 seconds. So we want to focus on a big range of motion, actually pulling and pushing the hips as we go. So doing these circles really activates the pelvis and is a great hip opener. So as you press the hips forward, you might feel a stretch into your hip flexors, and as you drive back, you might also feel a bit of a stretch into your hamstrings. Just take your time, focus on the range of motion. All right, time's up going that way, so go ahead and switch. Other direction. Again, as you press your hips forward, you want to squeeze your glutes, make sure that tailbone and pelvis is tucked under, keeping your belly button drawn in to offer your low back support. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into a single leg deadlift. So we're going to pick one side to start, standing nice and tall. Right from the beginning, draw your belly button in, slight shift of the hips under. So you're going to have your hands pointed down, your fingers pointed down with them right tight to your sides, letting one leg fall back as we hinge at the hips, pressing the chest, keeping the back flat. You want to think about reaching for something that is directly in front of your toes. So you don't want those arms way out. bring them in. So we're stretching out the hamstring at the bottom here. And then as you drive down through that front heel, forward through the hip, squeezing the glute at the top, we are strengthening the hamstring and the glute at the top of that motion. So again, hinging at the hips, chest pressed, back flat, take your time. You might only be going down to here. Just go with whatever range of motion works best for you, driving all the way forward at the top. So one option is just to reduce the range of motion. Your second option is to slide that foot and keep it on the ground to help for balance as we go. So we're gonna do 30 seconds on each side. Get ready and we'll begin. So you can take it nice and slow. It doesn't need to go fast. Focus on your balance, strengthening and stretching the hamstring and working on the stabilizers of that supporting leg. So if you find you're really unbalanced and you're caving inward on that bottom foot, drive your focus into having your weight evenly distributed throughout that foot and pressing it down into the ground. All right, time's up on that side. Go ahead and switch. So drive that foot down, chest pressed, belly button in, and slowly take your time as we come down and up. Again, your option, reduce the range of motion, so only go down as far as what works for you, or let that back foot drag on the ground for balance. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into a forward fold. You're going to stand with your feet a comfortable distance apart. You're going to start with your hands just relaxed at your sides. Tuck your chin down to your chest. Start rounding your shoulders in, rounding the mid back, and then slowly working to the low back. Because we're focusing on the back on this one, bend your knees as much as you need to so you're not feeling a ton into your hamstrings. Let the head hang heavy, coming down as far as what works for you and holding for 30 seconds. Again, you might feel a bit of a stretch in the back of the legs, but feel free to bend those knees, really focusing on pressing throughout that spine. You can have your hands on the ground, on your shins, or even in behind and press into your legs to further that back stretch. Feel free to move slightly, whatever works best and feels best for you. All right, time's up. So slowly coming up, rolling and straightening your back all the way, shoulders back at the top, and relax. We're moving into cat-cow snake. So you may remember this movement from yesterday. Starting in tabletop position, feet are relaxed, pressing them down into the mat. So you're going to start by rounding throughout that spine, shifting your weight back onto your heels, dropping to your elbows, sliding forward, and finishing by pressing the chest and letting your back arch. Again, option is to put something underneath your knees, or so you can sit back not as far, so putting a pillow underneath your bum. We're going to go through this movement for 45 seconds. So really driving throughout the spine, keep it pressed as you sit back, taking your time to bring your chest all the way through, and really focus on opening the core and the chest at the top. So just as we're moving throughout this movement, take note to how you feel today versus yesterday. So you might also feel a stretch into the core, chest, and those hips as we go to sit back onto the heels. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into a modified plank. So you're going to be on your mat with your forearms down, elbows right underneath the shoulders, coming onto your knees, and go ahead and just lift those feet off the ground. So right from the start, we want to draw our belly button in, brace your core like you're trying to flex it, and tuck your hips under slightly to keep that low back neutral. We're going to be holding here for 15 seconds, then we'll take a little break. So focus on pressing up through the shoulders so you're not collapsing in with the chest. Keep that tailbone tucked under and really focus on belly button in and bracing like you're trying to like flex your core. All right, take a little break. Go ahead and just like drop down, relax. And then we're gonna push back up and do one more set, holding for 15 seconds. So go ahead and push up, resume position, and hold. So by focusing on strengthening the core, it's gonna really help take a lot of pressure and focus off the low back. And it's overall just gonna offer a ton of support to our back. All right, time's up. Go and relax. We're moving into bridge pose. Coming onto your back on the mat, feet are flat, upper body is relaxed. Drive down through the feet, lifting your hips up. From here, we're gonna hold, focus on squeezing your glutes, pressing your hips up as high as you can. Belly button is drawn in, core is nice and tight, hips are tucked under slightly. We're gonna hold here for 30 seconds. So we are activating and waking up the glutes and the hamstrings. To really activate the hamstrings, take your heels and try to pull them towards your body without actually moving your feet. Focus on pulling them in towards your butt, squeezing your butt to engage and work the glutes. Your option as we hold is just to release down and press back up when you're ready. So try to think about the muscles we're working, squeezing the hamstrings, squeezing the glutes, and keeping that core nice and tight. All right, time's up. Slowly release and relax. We're moving into hamstring digs. So just seated on your mat, tuck one leg under just so it's comfortable, sitting up nice and tall. We're gonna prop that heel down, lifting the toes up towards the shin. Similar to what we were doing with that hip bridge, you're taking your heel and trying to pull it in towards your body, really working and feeling the hamstring grab. We're gonna be here for about 5 seconds and then you'll release. And we're just gonna repeat that movement for 30 seconds. So dig down in and try to pull that heel towards you without actually moving it on the mat. Hold for about 5 and then release. So focus on pressing the heel down and then bring it towards your body. Sometimes it even helps to have your hand on the muscle we're trying to work. So you can just place it onto your hamstring to feel it activate and then relax. Okay, time's up on that side. Go ahead and switch. When you're ready, holding in, squeezing for about 5 seconds, and then release. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. We're moving into a figure 4 stretch. You're gonna start by lying back on your back, relaxing your upper body, bringing one heel onto the knee. So you wanna reach through. You can grab your hamstring, or if you're really flexible, all the way over top of your shin, lacing your fingers and gently lying back. Right from the start, flexing both toes to the shin, so both legs, and try to press that bent knee away from your body. We're holding here for 30 seconds. So your immediate kind of feel is stretching out that glute of the bent leg, and stretching out the glute within that hip is also gonna help relieve pressure from the low back. If this is too much of a stretch, feel free to just let that leg come down and then again, still focus on pressing that knee away from your body. Time's up on that side. Go ahead and switch. And then holding again for 30 seconds. So remember, both toes of both feet, they should be pulled towards the shins to help protect the knees. All right, time's up. Slowly release and relax. We're ending today's routine with child's pose. So we did this one yesterday, if you remember, just straight into position, knees as wide as your mat, big toes together, walk the hands forward, and slowly sit back onto those heels, relaxing your head down. First 20 seconds, holding at center. So again, just focus on letting your hips drop back, your chest be pulled down, and your head is relaxed. Feeling a stretch in the groin, the back, your chest, and into your shoulders as well. All right, go ahead and bring those arms off to one side and then resume position for another 20 seconds, adding into that oblique stretch. And other side, walking those hands all the way over, last 20 seconds. All right, time's up. Go ahead and relax. Great work on day number 2. Combining strength and mobility movements is one of the quickest and easiest ways to see progress. We have injury-specific programming for the low back, the hips, the pelvis, and the knees. If any of those sound like something you could benefit from, feel free to check them out. Other than that, I'll see you back for a quad and hamstring-focused routine tomorrow with a foam roller.